Hey, what's going on, you miserable fucking bastards? Before the video starts, I would really appreciate if you help this old man out by liking and subscribing to my channel. I react to a lot of different shit on the internet and I game like a motherfucker. I'm just gaming. Appreciate it, guys. Let's see what he has to say.
Oh, is everything wrong with society? Diddy walking almost completely unscathed tells you everything.
Yep.
Showing so clearly that we're now in a world.
This motherfucker was devious, especially with them baby lotions, bro. And he only got just a few slaps on the wrist. It's insane. And I remember somebody talking about like their family members were like hooting and hollering that he didn't fucking like get like extreme charges. They would yell like, "Let's go!" and all that shit.
World where with enough money, power,
Exactly. Yep.
and connections,
When you got money, power, money and connections, power comes with money. And with money, you have connections. That's how it goes, bro.
so you can just do whatever you want.
Pretty much.
No matter the consequences.
Not even just in America, in the world.
As Diddy is just one of many high-up elites that can walk away from courtrooms without ever facing real justice, which is such a huge surprise. But the Diddy verdict is more outrageous than most. This isn't just like O.J. Simpson, as Diddy is now acquitted of the most serious charges despite overwhelming evidence of all of his evil activities, let alone all the other stuff that he's been accused of for the last few decades. His actions were so bad and horrific that even one of his biggest lawyers quit as he just couldn't serve him. That was an unprecedented move at this echelon of the legal industry.
Crazy. Like, that lawyer would basically, he just said, like, this guy has so much shit on him. There's no way I can fucking defend this guy. Not because of ethical, it could be ethical reasons, but it could also mean that I'm gonna fucking get fucking ripped to shreds, bruh. There's nothing I can defend. Everything is so overwhelming with the amount of evidence that Diddy has fucking done it, that is presented. I can't do anything. I gotta call it quits. I gotta tap out, bro. I can't. There's nothing I can do.
And yet this whole time, Diddy just knew that he was too powerful to ever be touched. Legally, that is. And in court, he always just seemed so relaxed the entire time, as he knew the game was rigged to begin with.
That's a fucking
as people
weird
with
ass
his
photo.
power, money, and maybe even alleged blackmail are always above the law. One law for thee, another for me. And at this point with the recent verdict, it's expected that he'll just walk away free. Whether that be because the judges were—
Yeah, but wait a minute though. What happened to what's his face? The two guys. What's his name? The black actor who fucking did some shit. What's his name again? Oh man, I forgot his name. Bill Cosby. He did some heinous shit like drugging girls and raping them, and you haven't seen shit from him. Or what's that other guy's name? R. Kelly. You know, the trapped in the closet guy.
7 o'clock in the morning.
I mean, look at him. I mean, so apparently it's not all about the money. Sometimes if your crimes are too heinous, they just gonna lock your ass up. But I guess some of them just slip through the cracks.
were in the free cuffs or they were caught with baby oil, who even knows at this point. When the verdict was announced, Diddy's family and his lawyers were quick to celebrate.
Oh, yeah, that's the one I saw. That's the one I was
Despite
talking about.
20 years in prison, acquittal on the trafficking and racketeering charges was more than they could ever hope for. Now, it was always going to be tricky for the government to prove their case completely. Racketeering charges, which were originally designed to take down the mafia, are notoriously hard to make stick. While unsuited for dealing with individual criminals, they're meant to take down whole enterprises and cartels. To prove them, the government needed to show two things. Firstly, that there were at least 2 cases of specific federal crimes committed within a 10-year period. Then they needed to make a case that they happened within the context of a larger criminal conspiracy, that Diddy was the mastermind of a huge larger organization. Specifically, they tried to pin both human trafficking on him. They needed to show through the testimony of Casey Ventura and the other key witness Jane that this had occurred, but the defense sabotaged it. While we'll never know exactly why the jury acquitted, it's likely got lots to do with how they poked holes in their testimony.
Or it could have been maybe they were blackmailed, or some of the witnesses were coerced, maybe. Or they just could have got a big check, a payout. Because what I realize about fucking people, bro, is that every fucking human on this planet has a price. Me included. Everyone got a fucking price, unfortunately. And I'm sure some of these fucking jurors probably, you know, were contacted and they were offered money. And if they didn't, you know, if they, you know, a few of them who had some conviction and some fucking honor, they were probably blackmailed. I'm just gonna keep it a stack.
The prosecution had what people have called a meticulous, almost academic case. They showed clear cases where they alleged this happened, and then they went into excruciating detail. But most importantly, they put a lot of pressure on the jury to match up this evidence with the idea of Diddy as a criminal mastermind, rather than just as a powerful but flawed individual.
Wait, that's Diddy? Doesn't look like Diddy.
This was where they stumbled, and where Diddy's defense team struck their blow. The legal team did everything they could to sabotage this case, and to do this, they didn't deny lots of Diddy's other crimes, the ones he wasn't on trial for in federal court. They accepted the idea that he was actually predatory, that he was a
Oh, is that fucking oh my god, the guy who sings Day and Night? What's his name again? Yo, I'm blanking out, bro. My rap shit is really fucking bad. Chat, let me know in the comments who is this is the guy who sang Day and Night like in the late 2000s, early 2010s. What's his name? Fuck, I forgot his name.
Day and night.
abusive, that he had a coercive, dominating relationship with these women, and also with the other people in his orbit. Clearly showing that this guy is definitely
Mariah Carey too. Usher, Jay-Z,
a bad person.
Mary J. Blige was the one in the back end.
But while Diddy certainly held a lot of control over his world, they casually threw out the idea that he was running some kind of criminal enterprise. A lot of this came down to texts they dug up between Diddy and other key witnesses. They showed Casey telling Diddy that I'm always ready to freak off, lol lol lol. In another text after a party, she told Diddy, yeah, I like those times. I love when we make love after. The last time was so good.
Damn.
The prosecution was hoping that the jury would see this as part of the coercive relationship. They thought they would read between the lines and see them as the words of someone who was afraid.
If they were gonna use those text messages as like incriminating evidence for him, that I don't think that's gonna stick, bro. Like I think there's gotta be some really heinous shit in order for that shit to fucking like really get on Diddy.
Of being negative about their experiences. It was clearly too much pressure to put on them. Meanwhile, the defense's story that this was all just part of Diddy's private life was a lot easier to swallow, no matter how crazy the actual reality of this was. They even delivered this so much more casually, talking to the jury as if they were having a conversation instead of a trial. Ironically, they even borrowed a trick from the mafia. Diddy was made to look as old and grey as possible, sitting in the courtroom, dressed up like a man in his 70s rather than his 50s. All while he was eerily calm, as if he wasn't facing.
Wait, how old was Diddy? Diddy's like 50 years old or some shit, right? Chad, is that the case? Is Diddy like 50? Because I know like in the 90s he was in his 20s. So in the 90s he was 20s, 2000s 30s. Yeah, I will say 50s. Yeah, I'm tripping. Yeah, you're right. Math is not my forte. My bad, guys. My bad.
In his 50s, all while he was eerily calm, as if he wasn't facing decades in prison. This was all part of a campaign to sow doubt in this criminal mastermind idea. The prosecution's analytic attacks didn't stand up to this more emotional case made by the defense team. The government coincidentally overreached, and they paid a huge price, as now Diddy can easily walk away with just a few years, even just a few months at this point, confirming what nearly everyone already knew about the American justice system. It's all about money.
And even if he ends up in prison, let's just say best case scenario for us, worst case scenario for him, he does end up in prison for like a few years or a few months, depending if he does time for good behavior or he completes like a few he completes a few stuff where, you know, his sentences are reduced. They're probably going to put him in like a really fancy jail or a really fancy prison where like celebrities go. They're not going to put him like in like the really bad fucking prisons like Rikers or Pelican Bay or some shit like that. Or if they do, they'll probably put him in like the most like bougiest, like really like witness protection or like some shit like that in prisons, bro. They're not gonna put him with the general public. I know that much. They'll really get at his ass if that ever happens. I'd be shocked if that ever happens.
Diddy's money and power gave him the resources to employ a massive, well-funded, intelligent defense. These teams have deep connections with the judges and every aspect of the legal industry. They can easily pull the strings and are often friends with the people they're dealing with.
Yep.
No public defender could have towed the line.
Definitely, this dude probably has friends like with courts and judges and politicians, legal aid, all that type of shit. You know, he definitely has connections in that field. You know?
They towed. Regular people accused with much less supporting evidence have been given life sentences for this sort of thing. Meanwhile, Diddy's millions meant he could play the system and get off.
Woo! Imagine being an average Joe and you pulling that and get pulled with that shit, bro. Man, you're cooked in all aspects, in more ways than one. So Jigga, Diddy, Ye, and fucking Pharrell Williams too. Damn. I like fucking Pharrell Williams. I like the old school Ye, bro, and Jay-Z too. What the fuck, bro? It's crazy.
absolute
I
minimum.
actually didn't know that fucking Kanye was that tall. Neither was I didn't know that these two were that tall. Honestly, I know that fucking Jay-Z is like 6'3". I think Diddy is like 6 feet, and Kanye, I thought he was like maybe 5'10" or some shit like that. I thought he was a lot. I thought Pharrell Williams was a lot shorter. What the fuck am I saying? My bad. Never mind.
And punishment. But there was so much evidence that painted Diddy in such a bad light. The raids and what they found, the mountains of substances, baby oil, firearms, the months of witness testimony, the actual
firearms or whatever, but the baby oil is crazy.
Still meant next to nothing in the face of just a well-funded defense that knew exactly where to put the pressure. And Diddy being found not guilty of racketeering also set a very scary legal precedent. That now it's going to make it so much harder for any elite to be ever charged with racketeering. We see this time and time again, almost every
Leonardo
year
too.
That the elites work together in a club
that's
and you're
crazy.
not in it. Mr. Jeff also got the same treatment. Through his ties to presidents, royalty and top executives, and possibly even Mossad, he avoided real punishment for years despite multiple accusers and evidence. His 2008 plea deal was notoriously lenient. He was just given a 13-month sentence and allowed to leave jail during the day with no real accountability for trafficking minors. And Diddy's been accused of all sorts of similar things, taking people out, a criminal enterprise manipulating the entire music industry, and blackmail. And while the Diddy case isn't fully over, the partial acquittal on racketeering and trafficking fits a similar theme. The biggest charges often don't stick when the defendant is rich and connected. You can operate in plain sight for years, protected by
Harvey
money,
Weinstein
fame, and
was first
silence.
one.
God knows how many other people are doing this that we just have no idea about. As these massive public cases are some of the only rare times where the public can actually see it.
Prince Harry too. Usher, Pink. I haven't heard that name in a while. Pink, Bieber. My God, bro.
It's only coming about when it's just too obvious for the entire world to ignore. But more often than not, it's completely covered up. Diddy had all sorts of celebrities coming out.
God, what is his name? What is his name, bro? It's gonna keep eating at me, bro. I know he's a fucking rapper from the late 2000s, bro, early 2010s. He sang that song Day and Night. But fuck, what's his name? He's like half Mexican, half black or some shit like that. Fuck, what's his name, bro? It's gonna keep eating at me, man. It's really gonna keep eating at me.
Out, all the proof of the freak-off parties, the multiple civil suits, video leaks, and yet he still gets away with almost all of this. And now with Diddy likely walking free, lots of celebrities will have to be looking over their shoulders after this.
I know if he walks, I'm gonna be target number one, which is fine. I'm used to that. It's kind of exciting for me.
Is that exciting or is that slightly scary?
I mean, all the celebrities involved, all the people in the industry like Kid
Cudi. There's his name, Kid Cudi.
And all those who try to take Diddy down will now face huge consequences of going.
Oh yeah, if he walked, he's getting at their asses. On God, bro. Shit, man. I mean, if I was him, I probably would do the same. All you motherfuckers snitched on me, and I got off. Yeah, all you are going down, bro. I'm pulling a fucking Tekashi 6ix9ine. All you, I'm snitching on all you motherfuckers. I'm gonna do worse.
Against
But that's just me in an alternate time. I'm not doing that in real life, though.
Someone at this elite level in society, and the
Mariah Carey, damn.
repercussions will be completely hidden away. But after all of this disturbing stuff, even having sleepovers with a young Justin Bieber, hosting his own Love Island where he took people off the radar, all of this can be done with just enough money. And now Diddy has absolutely no legal fear. He's just proven what we all know, that all of this goes on behind the closed doors of the elites for decades. And with a
Yeah, but it's the people's fault. It's our fault because we allow this shit to happen. So why are we fucking bitching and complaining about it now? If people stood up and forced the government to do their fucking job and like ignore the fact that they have money, justice is supposed to be blind, right? But it's our fault because we're not, as the people, the government's supposed to be subservient to us, the people. And if we're not fucking doing our part and saying, hey, you know what? You need to start doing your fucking jobs. You need to charge this man accordingly. Stop taking backdoor deals. Stop taking checks from these fucking dudes who you clearly see that with all the mounting evidence, he's guilty. Do your fucking jobs. Since they didn't do it, it just shows me, hey, when you have money, you have power. And when you have power, you have connections, and no one can basically touch you. So it is what it is.
enough influence, laws and morals just don't apply to them.
Yep. Now we're gonna have just normal people. Oops, hold on. Just normal people bitching and complaining. I can't believe this is happening. Bitch, it's happening because it's our fucking fault. We let this shit happen. Shut the fuck up. If you really give a shit, go take your ass outside and protest in the fucking streets in the hundred thousands or the millions for actual fucking justice, for like, you know, like judicial reform or some shit like that, so we can actually see justice. So we can actually put these people accountable and say, hey, your money is not going to mean shit in the eyes of the law. But it's not going to happen. People are too busy protesting climate change in first world countries and, you know, protesting like LGBT shit. So nothing. I don't expect much.
For decades. And with enough influence, laws and morals just don't apply to them.
Yo, good fucking video by Moon, bro.